It's time now for Carter's Corner. Everything Bay Area sports on the Northern California Sports and Entertainment Network. Here is your host, Carter Kim.
Hello, ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, and bees. Welcome to Carter's Corner. I am Carter Kim here on Northern Lights Sports and Entertainment. And today we had some more winter meeting news because the Boston Red Sox have completed another Chris Sale arc and traded for Garrett Crochet. Man, that is a good deal. That is a good deal. They managed to get Garrett Crochet from the Chicago White Sox for 4 highly regarded prospects in their farm system. That's definitely an interesting move, and I very much like it. Because as of right now, Garrett Crochet is set to be the next staff ace for the Boston Red Sox. Along with that, we had news of Nathan Eovaldi going to the Texas Rangers and the Jake Burger going from the Marlins to the Rangers as well, along with the Andres Jimenez being traded from the Cleveland Guardians to the Toronto Blue Jays. Yep. Dodgers just get Sasaki and Flaherty re-sign and Teoscar call an off-season. Crochet good for Boston. I mean, here's the thing. I wonder how much y'all are going to be spending this off-season, considering you guys just made a big payday for Blake Snell. I mean, that was a massive thing. I think that he's going to be taking up a lot of your cap space this year, especially considering he's a Boris client, but I definitely think they're still in on Sasaki for sure. I think Teoscar is going to be another guy that you are gunning for. But I do wonder, after you sign Michael Conforto, how y'all are going to square it with Teoscar. I mean, Andy Pages, Tommy Edman. Yeah. Ultimate Teoscar ends up with Boston or Toronto. I think that he ends up in Boston, actually. I really think that he ends up in Boston. I really think he ends up in Boston. I feel like if Teoscar went to Boston, he would be in great shape. He'd have a great field to be in. He'd have the place where he can hit for power. He's got a lot of ability in Boston to basically command a pretty good contract. He'd be cleaning up for Devers, Duran, and a bunch of other great players. I mean, he's a great player, and I like him. I think he can be the best. Buehler in Boston also? That's certainly possible. They need a pitching staff, and they need a guy with pedigree. And honestly, Buehler just needs to get a deal. He's probably going to take a 1 or 2 year prove-it deal and be like, hey, I still got it or I don't. He does need, after the last 2 years where he struggled after his Tommy John surgery, he needs the ability to, prove himself again. So I think that could be a place where he goes. I don't think the Giants are going to take him because we're not interested in prove-it deals right now. But it's a lot of interesting stuff happening after Soto finally got signed. I mean, the minute after Soto got signed, everything's been happening. I mean, you have Romano, Yimi Garcia, Max Fried, Jimenez moving, Eovaldi returning to the Rangers, Burger along with Crochet. I mean, we finally have movement because the big teams and the small teams are finally not worried about Soto being a problem anymore. But yeah. It was a good move. I really like how it all went. I mean, the Red Sox now have, I would say, the ace of their future. I mean, Houck has been really good for them as well, but looking at Crochet, I can see that staff being bolstered for years to come. Let me just I didn't know this was a stat. Okay. What was I going to say? Names. Oh, yeah. What the hell? No, come on. I would not rely on Gonsolin as 4 or 5 stars. No, I wouldn't either. I mean, y'all are pretty damn injured all the time. I would be very inclined to say, hey, you guys need other people. What was the name? Oh, shoot. Okay, let's look at Crochet. I mean, like, he's got a lot of good stuff going for him. That four seam, that cutter, the sweeper looks good. He's definitely a bit of a, yeah. Hey, Johnny, good to see you. But yeah, there's just got to be the Red Sox. They're trying to rebuild the pitching staff. This is something that they've needed for so long. I mean, let's just take a look at the Crochet. I mean, let's take a look at Crochet. I mean, looking at Crochet as a player, ERA, batting average, fastball velocity, chase, whiff, strikeout percentage are all great. That four seam's got to get a little more up, and the cutter is a little bit. The cutter's pretty good though, and the sweeper is as well. But a lot of the other pitches he has to fix. Hold on, I gotta. All right, I'm back. Jimmy would be a good fit for the Warriors. I agree. Jimmy being on the Warriors would literally be perfect fit. I mean, I look at that team, and then we would have we'd have Steph, we'd have a couple other people. We'd be able to set up Jimmy in different positions. He'd be able to score a little more than he is right now. He's obviously a little older, but he's still got that stuff to him that makes him a great player. But yeah, look at Crochet though. That dude. Boston's getting a gem. Boston is getting an absolute gem of a player. I mean, he's been great when he's played. I mean, Garrett Crochet is fantastic. He's got to add another pitch, though. He can't just be relying on the four seam and the cutter. He's got to have something with a bit more finesse, in my opinion. He's got that stuff, though. No other news than Crochet. I've been sick all day. Just got up now. I mean, it's been pretty damn quiet, if I'm being honest. Like, it's ever since Soto finally got signed, we've finally been experiencing a lot more free agency news, which is good. But it's like, other than that, it has been pretty quiet, if I'm being totally honest. Not really much to talk about other than Crochet. But looking around, though, there really hasn't been much to talk about. I mean, Crochet obviously is a big deal. I mean, just looking at it on the surface, Boston may have won in the short term. For the short-term future, they have a new staff ace along with Tanner Houck. But we all see what the White Sox are doing. They're getting a bunch of prospects that they really need. Kyle Teal, Braden Montgomery, and Chase something, or I don't know what the heck this guy's name is. Chase Mydroth? I'm not entirely sure. But there's just a bunch of players that they brought up since, I don't know. They really needed more pitching. After last year, the bats were carrying the day, and they looked really good offensively with Duran, Devers, a bunch of other solid hitters. I mean, all those guys look great. The thing is, their pitching just fell apart. The bats were carrying the day for Boston, for sure. Let me just look at their offensive output, actually. I mean, they were like top 10 in offense. The problem is their pitching was abhorrently bad. They were 17th in ERA, 17th in WHIP. They didn't have a lot of quality starts, and the opposition batting average was pretty good. I mean, would you bring back Jock Peterson back? No, I don't want to do DHs anymore. I mean, he's a solid player, and he can get you production, but Jock Peterson isn't a guy that you bring on purely because, let's just get him. I think you bring Jock Peterson on to you bring him on to fill out your team. Like, if you brought him onto the Dodgers, for example, it would be better because, you already have great players on the Dodgers. If you bring Jock in, that adds a little extra dynamic. Bringing Jock Peterson back to us, for example, would not be great. If you brought him onto the Yankees, Dodgers, the Phillies, or some other team, like if he was a bench bat or something of that nature, then that's cool. But we're not a team that needs Jock Peterson. And having him back would be – he's a decent bat, but he's not really a game-changing guy. I mean, I'm going to look him up too. Looking at his numbers, he's actually pretty damn great. He's a really good DH type that can just smash the ball for you. But his splits against lefties and righties are genuinely bad. Well, let me just check him up too. Hold on. I'm just gonna look him up a little bit. Jock Peterson splits versus lefties and right. Yeah, here's the thing. His lefty-righty splits aren't great if you actually look at them, because let me just take a look at this. Here is Jock Peterson's splits. These are his lefty-righty splits. He obviously doesn't have – the reason why his splits are bad too are because his at-bats are much lower, but here we go. His splits are – okay. We have news that just popped up on my screen. Bill Belichick finalizing deal to be UNC coach. Finalizing deal to become new head coach of North Carolina. Yeah. Nobody even uses jock against lefties. Exactly. That's the problem with him. Like, look at the split. Look at the splits here. This is him against righties. This is him against the lefties. His splits drop so massively, it's not even funny. The on-base percentage is pretty good, but looking at this, you're like, the OPS is horrible. The slugging percentage, the OPS here is horrible. And just look, there's just such a massive decline that it's not even worth it. He would be a decent player for a team that just needs a lefty specialist that can take on the righties. But yeah, just saw the report that says the Giants are closing in on a deal with Burns. Okay, let's check. Let's see if he has any news. The good Jeff Passan. Hold on. Corbin Burns. Based on Corbin Burns. I'm trying to see. I'm not sure. I haven't heard a lot about like him definitely being on the team, but yeah. Yeah, from 10 minutes ago? Okay. No, this is 5 hours ago. My bad. 2 hours, 46. Yeah. I'm just worried about Boston. Here's the thing. I'm worried about Boston. I genuinely am. I mean, from Bay Area Bob. Okay. I mean, I am genuinely worried about Boston for the simplistic reason, like, I don't know what they're doing. I mean, that making this trade for Crochet was really good, but now I'm thinking, like, are they going to actually go pay for a good player? Because the trends of FSG tell me, like, they're doing nothing. When do I think Sasaki will sign? Maybe early January or either January. They will sign either in January or he'll like early January, or he'll sign like just after or before Christmas. I think he's going to make a move at some point there. I'm more worried about the Mets. Well, here, the difference is, that is genuinely something to worry about. But here's the problem. It's that FSG, they never really truly signal like what they're doing. They might say, oh, we're going to do this. Like, we're going to be aggressive. But what does that mean? Does that mean we're going to go out to spend? Does that mean we're going to do nothing? Because now we don't know if Boston's a suitor or not. They say they might be, but we don't know. But Daniel, you are correct in the sense that we should worry about the Mets because, the Mets are a spending team because they clearly forecast every year like, hey, we're going to go spend money. That's a different difference maker for me. The difference with Boston is like, I'm worried because they just get so quiet and I'm worried they're going to do something. Or they won't. That's the problem. They're unpredictable. I'm super hopeful for Burns and Tucker too. I mean, yeah, that's interesting because I'm wondering how they're going to pay Kyle Tucker. And I am worried about the Astros and how they're going to be conducting their business this winter. Are they going out to get people, or are they just focusing on their own guys? Breggy and Tucker seem like guys they're worried about right now, in my opinion. I mean, it's been super quiet, though, over in Houston. I mean, I would – if we get Corbin Burns, anything else after Corbin Burns would be cake. I am like everything else. Sorry, I mixed up my metaphor. If we got Corbin Burns, that would be fantastic. And if we got anything else, I would literally be like, yo, like, I don't need anything else. You just have to get me this guy. because Corbin Burns is genuinely one of the best freaking pitchers in baseball. I mean, he's really damn good. Just hold on. Also, Christian Walker. It's been really quiet on his market for sure. I'm not saying I want Christian Walker. I'm just saying it's been really quiet for a guy who's as good as Christian Walker. But yeah, looking at all the information, but like Corbin Burns. Yeah, I'm not getting this information, LD. I'm sorry. I just can't find it. No, I'm not saying we need to compete. Like, okay, so if we got Corbin Burns, I would be pretty damn happy. I'm not saying that, oh yeah, that's guarantee of us doing anything. I'm saying like if we get out of this free agency and we have Corbin Burns in our back pocket, I'm pretty happy. I'm not saying we're ready to compete. I'm not saying we're even ready to go to the playoffs or even a wild card. I'm not even saying we're going to be good. I'm just saying like if we got him on board, I would definitely be like, okay, we're looking much better now. But yeah, I think he would be a really good player to just get. Yeah, oh shoot. Oh no. Okay, no, I'm good now. Okay, yeah, Posey has been great at stealth mode. Had no idea on Adames. It was looking more like him. Yeah, I think Buster has been pretty quiet, which is good because I'd rather be like surprised than my general manager or like president of baseball operations make all these promises and not deliver, like a certain individual who had a control in the last regime. But Buster has been pretty good at what he's doing. He's done a good job as on what he's been doing. He got Adames, and now we're hoping for Corbin Burns. I think 100%. I think they plan on trading for a bat. If they get Burns on top of Adames, they are pot committed at that. They are pot committed at that point. Okay, I think that's possible. Us trading for a bat is very. I'm just worried. Like, what are we going to trade for him though? Because there are certain guys that I would be really happy to do that with, like maybe Robbie Ray, that we could trade around. But then we only have one lefty starter, which isn't great. I mean, it's risky. Tucker could end up on the Giants. That's possible, but it's also a little like I think the Astros really want to retain Kyle Tucker. It's just like I would love to have Kyle Tucker. Don't get me wrong. He would be like one of my favorite. Like I would be so happy to have him. The problem is with a guy like Kyle Tucker, like I'm worried how much Houston wants him because Houston, they're a bit like Boston in that they're a really good homegrown team. They grow their players. They make savvy trades, but they don't spend as much money as you would expect. They do spend money, but they don't spend as much as they did back in like 2018 when they won the World Series, for example. They don't spend that much money. They are a pretty homegrown team for the most part. And just like the Astros, the Astros don't spend a lot of money, but they make savvy trades and they homegrow talent. And now looking at Tucker, it would be a really tough sell. Like, what would we give him? For Tucker, Whisenhunt, Schmidt, Luciano. I don't think Schmidt and Luciano would be good enough. I mean, Schmidt, he would be bottlenecked behind Altuve and what's his name, Jeremy Pena. And Luciano would also be behind those two. So I don't think they would want middle infield prospects. They would probably want like outfielders or something of that nature. So yeah, pleasant surprises are definitely better than disappointments. Yeah, exactly. But we would wonder like how could we trade for Kyle Tucker? I mean, he would be a really good player to get. I don't even Whisenhunt, Luciano, Crawford. Huh. And that is the question though. Would they want to take a flyer on Crawford though? Because Reggie Crawford showed some potential. The problem is he's been injured more often than not. And well, we got turkeys outside my window, so yeah. But Whisenhunt definitely. I think if we were going to go trade for a guy like Kyle Tucker, we would have to trade Whisenhunt. Might have to include Fitzgerald for Tucker. I wouldn't like that. Listen, I would rather have Fitzgerald transition to the outfield if we had to do that. I mean, now this is where we're talking a little bit more. Matos, Birdsong, and Harrison, because there's like a couple. I mean, if we were gonna say Whisenhunt, Harrison, and like a middle infield or outfield guy, like for the Astros, then I would definitely do that. If it was like Whisenhunt, Harrison, and that guy, and then for Tucker, I'd be like, yes, totally. Yet listen, I know Kyle Harrison's a good player at his peak. The problem is like he hasn't shown enough to me. I mean, the thing is, the biggest problem with Kyle Harrison, in my opinion, is this. He's a great pitcher, but the problem is he's just a little too, whatchamacallit. He doesn't have enough of the stuff to work. Okay. So he throws his fastball this around league average. The problem is that for that fastball, it's average velocity around 94 peaking, but then the spin and the carry and the ride aren't that great. So I just wonder, like, it's got to be a tough. I'm not sure. I would be really inclined to trade Harrison if it was like a really good deal, but I would want to do something a little risky. I mean, for a rental, it is a little risky, but the thing is, we would have to negotiate a trade beforehand, in my opinion. I would have to say, hey, we need a guarantee that you're signing back with us and playing with us for like $200 million. If he says yes, then it's like, okay, we have a deal. Let's get this thing moving then. I mean, there are a lot of teams that have interest in Duvall as well. Even though Duvall hasn't been great, teams are still like, oh, he could still be a good player for us. A lot of teams still believe in Camilo Duvall. It's definitely a rental, though. And we'd have to get an agreement set up with Kyle Tucker before the trade and say, hey, like, we need you to re-sign with us. Plain and simple. If we only got him as a rental, I would be pissed. Because it's like, dude, that guy's a really good player and we need him back. But yeah, I would want to bring I would want to bring Kyle Tucker back. It would have to be a deal beforehand. That's the biggest thing. Tucker gets on base and can hit. Career 807, 870 OPS, and a 993 in 2024. That's pretty darn good. To be fair, he was injured part of the season, which is definitely a little issue, but that was just an ankle. So hold on. Kyle Tucker. Yeah. Jesus Christ. Look at those stats. Like, hold on. Let me just bring this up for everybody. So these are his stats. The problem is he's not qualified for a lot of them purely because he has been injured a lot of the season. He had like 500. To be fair, though, he was putting up some really good numbers in those seasons before. Like, let's look at 2023 before he was injured. He looked really good. The problem is I would also look at this. Like, he's an outfielder, but to be fair, he has had some really good years, though, with his fielding. It's just it fluctuates. He looks like a really good player. And if we got a chance to trade for him, I would definitely be a guy that says, okay, like I'd be pounding the table and saying, hey, like we will totally like give up some good pitching prospects for this guy because we need a guy like Kyle Tucker to be able to help us a lot because right now we don't have a superstar and Kyle could be that guy, especially considering he's been stuck behind Altuve, Bregman, Jordan, and a bunch of other great superstars down in Houston. Like for a couple of years, he was behind Springer and he was behind a guy like, I don't know, let's talk about Carlos Correa. I mean, he's been behind a lot of superstars. If he came here, he'd be able to carry the load, which is definitely something a guy like him can do. I mean, but again, that's a tough contract to swing. He's only got one more year left, and we basically have to say to him, hey, like before we trade for you, we need a guarantee that you would be on this, that you would re-sign with this team. I mean, he's with Excel Sports Management. I mean, he's had some really good years. He's been top 5 in MVP voting once. He's been in MVP voting 3 times. He's been a Gold Glover, a Silver Slugger. I mean, he would definitely be a guy that we should all consider if we had if we packaged Kyle Harrison and like Whisenhunt for this guy, I would definitely be like, yeah, let's fucking do it. I would be totally inclined to say, let's go get this guy. I mean, he's got everything that you would want in a baseball player. He's got the tools. He's big and can hit home runs, and it's got a lot of strength. He's got decent skills with the glove. I mean, yeah, you got to retain a guy like that. Not worth it if we just short-term rental. Yeah, if this was like it's not like we are the Yankees and we already have a guy waiting for him here or a team waiting for him. If we had that team set up, then yes, we should totally trade for him. We don't have that though. It's not like the Juan Soto trade where the Yankees got Soto and made a run to the World Series. It would be cool, but yeah. Same goes for Vladdy. If he was willing to sign an extension, yes, that is the biggest. That is a deal breaker. Okay, for me, that is the one thing that has to happen. Because the deal is the agent of the player and the two teams are allowed to talk to each other about the terms of the deal. We would definitely need Kyle Tucker to say, "I'm staying on if we're going to trade for you," because he would definitely be a guy where I'd be like, yes, let's trade for him, but only if he said, I'll resign. But that's the only thing. I mean, he's certainly a good player. I mean, I would definitely want to be taking a shot at him, but let me just add this guy to the I mean, he's just got, hold on, let me just like bring up my my whole like board of like targets and stuff. So like this as of right now, gentlemen, is the current list of guys that I would definitely be inclined to talk about. And these are the skill positions and the pitching. Obviously, I think these two should be the biggest priority, Corbin and Roki. But I think that Kyle Tucker, if we were going to go talk and say, hey, listen, if you re-sign with us and we trade for you, then yes, this can happen. But that's got to be it. We cannot be doing this 1 year Band-Aid thing. And I think that's what Buster has been really, really concerned about, because the most common theme of the contracts that he's had signed so far, long-term deals. They have all been long-term deals. Matty Ice and Adames have both been 7-year deals. So what I'm trying to basically say is, if we are going to do this, it needs to be a guarantee for like the next 78 years or 8 to 10 years that Kyle Tucker plays for the San Francisco Giants. We would have to do that. If we had Burns and Tucker, I think we're in the playoffs, barring injuries. That's possible. I mean, let's look at that lineup. We have Jung-Hoo Lee at the top, Ramos, Adames, Matt Chapman, along with a guy like, with Tucker at like the 5th spot or the 4th spot. We would have another couple guys like Fitz, Patty, along with, hold on, let me just bring up my the lineup. Let's just say we add Kyle Tucker to this. We would be able to create a pretty solid lineup. I'm not saying that we would definitely go to the playoffs, but I think we could take it outward. It's an outward shot at the wild card at least. We'd definitely be close to that, but we got to be really good. Bottom line, we have to have a great offense. The Diamondbacks had 89 wins last year and this is the playoffs. That's the other thing that we have to worry about. It's the competitive nature of the NL. The NL in general has a bunch of teams that are gunning for it. Us, and not to mention the NL West, which is where the best teams in baseball can be. The Diamondbacks, the Padres, the Dodgers, along with the Phillies, the Braves, not to mention the Mets now, who look really good. The NL Central, which has the Brewers and the Cubs, and we'll see what the Reds end up doing, but there's like a lot of competitiveness in the NL. We win 90? It's possible. But again, this would be a relatively young group of guys. That's another thing we'd have to know. This would be a relatively young group of guys. And it's also just we'd have to figure out how to cohesively put that team together. Kyle Tucker would also he's also not that old. He's only 27 years old. He's a younger gun who can still play. It's just, I am definitely a guy who would be pro trade for Kyle Tucker. It's just I'm wondering how we'd swing that, because he would definitely be a guy that I would be like, yes, let's totally get him. But like there's a reason why I have question marks against these two guys, because I feel like these two people are going to be retained by their respective clubs, especially the Astros, who need a future. The Astros, I feel like they're worrying right now because a lot of their current roster is older. If they re-sign Bregman, he's 31 years old. Altuve is 34. You look at a bunch of other players on this roster, other than Yainer Diaz and Yordan Alvarez, a lot of their guys are getting up there. So they need to retain Kyle Tucker. If they don't have him retained, they're in trouble. Ramos is a 3-hitter. Adames is a cleanup hitter, but Tucker would be cleanup. Yeah, I agree. I mean, hold on. Let's just I'm going to try and map this out if I can fix my computer. So this is the automatic thing. Jung-Hoo Lee is definitely the leadoff hitter. That's for sure. Then we would have from there Fitz maybe. Let's just say that's a question mark. And then we would have from there with the Adames, and then let's say Kyle Tucker. Let's just say Kyle Tucker for like the sake of like, let's just think about this. And then from there, like Matt Chapman, or maybe sorry. But yeah, this is what I'm thinking right now. Lee, Ramos, Tucker. Yeah, that's what I was originally thinking. Let's just have let's do it like that. This would be how I was thinking. So yeah. But yeah, this is what I'm thinking. So Jung-Hoo Lee, Ramos, Willy Adames, maybe. I'm not sure. Would it be Adames in the third spot? Oh, Wade. Okay. But yeah, then Wade, Ramos, and then in the final spot, who would it be? Lee, Fitz, Patty. I'm trying to think of who that personal person would be. There's definitely a lot of combinations that we can look at. I mean, I'm wondering what's going to happen about this guy in particular. When is Bryce Eldridge going to come up? It's not a terrible lineup at all, Johnny. It's definitely a solid team of guys. I mean, Jung-Hoo Lee, Ramos, Adames, Chapman, Fitz, Patty, and these two are the big question marks. And also, I wonder, when's he going to be up? When is Bryce Eldridge going to be coming up for the team? I mean, hold on. Sorry about that. Okay. But yeah, looking at this, looking at the lineup. So I'm going to just drop this a little bit more. Let's just say this is going to be the lineup with let's say, and this all depends on also a lot of things, but yeah, no, it'd definitely be more productive than last year, I think. But the thing is, we have to wonder about a few things. Does Tyler Fitzgerald continue what we saw last year? Does he keep getting better? That's one thing I would ask. Does Tyler Fitzgerald continue to get better? Let's look at a couple other things. Does Patrick Bailey get out of the slump that he had at the end of last year? I think that he can, because I trust Patty. I think he can be better than what he was. And then here's another thing. Let's take a look at this. So I'm just adding these question marks just to make sure that we can mark all this stuff up. And then who would be, okay, so first base, center field, left field, right field. Then we have shortstop, third base. Sorry, third base, yeah. Second base. Am I missing anything here? Yeah, Bailey is a bit lower down there, but I think Patty can be that guy that I saw in the 5-hole. I think he can. It's just he's got to be a little bit better. Who am I missing? Oh, the DH. Okay, and then that's the other question. Who's going to be the DH? I mean, Encarnacion? I mean, he showed some ability last year when he was up. I mean, he looked okay. But yeah, we have our center fielder, we have our left fielder, we have our shortstop, we have the right fielder theoretically. We have third base, first base, second base, and catcher locked up. Now we need to think about DH. Who's going to be the DH? Anthony Santander? I don't know. He would be a cool player, but I don't think we're going to get him because he's not really a guy that we can like say, oh yeah, he's definitely going to be. Bailey's hitting has to improve a lot. Listen, I'll say this about Patrick Bailey. He showed me the flashes in his first big league year, his first full big league year last year. He had a great start, but then he started slumping at the end. I think if we give him a chance this year, if he plays better, then I can definitely trust him to continue that production. If he plays better this year. And that's it, though. Hopefully Ramos and Fitzgerald get better. Yeah, I think that they will. I think he'll get better. LD is probably right with the lineup he just put up. Just add Fitzgerald, Luciano, DH, or Encarnacion Bailey. Yeah, well, here's the thing. Bailey's done the same thing in 1.5 years. He's done the same thing in 1.5 years of production. Here's my opinion about Patrick Bailey. He has shown me the flashes and the ability that say to me, okay, I can give you a chance. Because Patrick Bailey has had some really good stretches where he was hitting like 3 times a game. He almost hit for the cycle last year. He had a great year behind the plate, obviously, which was huge. He got a Gold Glove out of that. That's a big thing in my opinion. If Patrick Bailey can improve or show me the same production this year, or even do a little better, I can say, you know what? I can trust you again. Because Patty has shown me what he can do. I just need to see it more consistently. That's the biggest thing. And it's just, but the big thing is DH. Who would be the DH? A platoon of guys? Maybe we talk about bringing in a Band-Aid or something of that nature. I mean, I don't know a guy that can be a DH for us, though. That's like really good at it, too. I mean, I feel like we're just going to be platooning that DH, if I'm being totally honest. So, I feel like that's what I feel like it's going to happen. I feel like we're going to be platooning that DH. That's the thing. I don't know who it's going to be, though. I really liked – hold on. Encarnacion, I really liked him. Santander would be a great DH, but he's a qualifying offer player. That's the problem. He's a qualifying offer guy. And I honestly don't want to lose draft picks over this. I mean – yeah, next year's Ramos full season, I agree. Ramos is getting a full season next year, and he's going to be able to show how good he is, I think. I mean, I think if you give Ramos the full year as well, he'll play very well, in my opinion. I mean, left field, great bat. He got to an all-star game, dude. I mean, if you get to an all-star game and in that fraction of time, I can trust you to get better. I mean, I think he can be great. I like Ramos, and I really want to root for the guy. We look at that. Like this lineup looks really good, excluding the GH. I mean, and this is if Kyle Tucker does come here. So let's just assume, but for now, let's just look at what we have right now and like look at the line. Let's just look at the lineup as like what we have right now, in my opinion. So there. Maybe Fitz is number 6. But this is what it looks like as of right now. And then I think Ramos goes back to the 3-hole, if I'm being totally honest. So this is what I think the lineup is going to look like, and it's certainly intriguing. I mean, the 2-hole, it could be a number of people. We could definitely reshuffle this lineup. It could look different. Fitz actually looked really good when he was actually at the back end of the lineup in like the 6th hole. Patty looked a little better in some stretches. Matty Ice. Oh, God. Hold on. Let me just fix that. There we go. And then Jung-Hoo Lee obviously rounding out the top. I mean, it's solid. I mean, sorry. Give me a second. I got to add his first name. But yeah, this entire team of guys all look really good. We got it official from Willy Adames. Jung-Hoo Lee is going to be here for a while. So is Ramos, Matty Ice, Tyler Fitzgerald, Patrick Bailey. I mean, I like it. I genuinely like it. Again, I'm not saying this lineup's winning a World Series, but I definitely think this lineup can definitely be solid. Not spectacular, but solid. I mean, a lot of people noticed us because of Elliot Ramos and how well he did.
What the heck? Some guy in his jerky car. What a dick.
But yeah, anyway. I mean, looking at this lineup, it looks solid. I like this lineup. It looks solid. I mean, Jung-Hoo Lee, Ramos, Willy Adames, Chappie or Matty Ice, Fitz, Patty. It looks solid. And depending on what Bryce Eldridge does, we could have a guy filling out like between 5 and 6. I mean, you never know, man. Ramos getting an opportunity to be in a full season. Jung-Hoo Lee might get a chance as well. I just hope. I mean, after that injury, I was so pissed. I was genuinely angry. I was like, dude, what are we going to do now? Because we have nothing, like, we don't have anything to play for. Because I knew we weren't going to do that well. And honestly, like, we need to add, like, that. We need that one other player, that crazy dynamic player that can be great. I mean, man, but look at this, though. It's just the lineup looks solid. Wade or Fitz or Yaz are in your 2 spot. I mean, let's just say Fitz goes there instead now. I would like to see Fitz in the 2 hole, though. He looked really good when he was in the 2nd spot. But yeah, let's just look at that lineup for a second, guys. And then, like, okay, hold on. Let me just back that up. Say, Bryce Eldridge. I mean, what's the news? Oh. Apparently, it's just a rumor. Apparently, it's just a rumor as of right now, but it's too bad about Randy. I mean, he's obviously experiencing health problems and he's getting a little older, and everybody experiences problems with their health eventually because the body doesn't survive that long. But I think it's just up to us as people to just stay out of his business. I mean, the guy is, you feel bad for him because no one should ever have to suffer like that for something that horrible like cancer. But again, we don't know. It's not our business. So I'd personally recommend just staying out of it, in my opinion. But yeah, anyway, back to baseball. But Matty Ice, Bryce Eldridge, Patrick Bailey, Willy Adames, Elliot Ramos, Fitz, Jung-Hoo Lee. I mean, that's decent talent. That really could be great. It's just right now I want to focus on those guys, though. These 2 in particular. Yeah. Oof, man, it's like Huh. All right. You have a good one, LD. It's good to see you. Have a good one. Man, but Corbin Burns, Roki Sasaki. I mean, get me one of these guys. I need one of these people to be really good and play for this team. I mean, Roki would probably be a guy that would be more bullish on because we have international pool money, but I'm worried about that simply for the fact that Roki is just – that's a tough sell considering there are two other teams in our division that definitely could influence him more. Hold on, give me a second. I'm back. But yeah, like these guys right here are the guys that I would definitely be like, okay, we need to go get them. Like, especially Corbin Burns. If we got Corbin Burns, I would be so happy because that gives us an ace, and that's important. I mean, but yeah, we are getting this information right now from the from SI Sports Illustrated that he is ready to make a decision. Bryce might be up in the number 2 hitter by May. The Giants won't bring him up until May because it would be start to his arbitration year early. So I suppose he didn't start 2010 on the big club. I mean, yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, they're trying to have all the logistics figured out for contracts and stuff like that so that he can stay with us as long as possible. It's interesting, the dynamics and economics of baseball contracts and how it all works. But yeah, he could be up here by May if he like keeps getting good down AAA, and then we can start his arbitration a year because we don't want to start the arbitration a year early. And it could be interesting in that sense because Buster's trying to, like, you know, make sure this is all set up so that we can have him for a long time. But I am certainly interested to see how he does when he comes up. I mean, let's just look at that. I mean, hold on. But yeah, we are apparently pushing hard for Corbin Burns according to our friends at SI right now. So that's going to be interesting. And I think that, hold on, let me just bring up the lineup again. So, and then we look at Eldridge. Does he come up to 2? I mean, I don't know. He's a younger guy who's trying to figure out the big leagues. And I am genuinely being like, okay, let's cool our jets and make sure he develops well. Because if you develop talent the right way, you can be a great team for a really long time. But yeah, I think that looking at the situation, Lee, Fitzgerald, Ramos, Adames, Chapman, Eldridge, Bailey, and then the DH, and then whoever we have fill out right field. That could be anybody at this point, but yeah, basically first is going to be a platoon, in my opinion, until Bryce Eldridge is ready to come up. But yeah. All right, guys, I got to go because I should go work out and train a little bit before I go eat some dinner and chill. But I appreciate you guys coming on. It's always great to have you here, LD, Daniel, Johnny, D-Shot, and everybody else who just came along. Daniel as well, who came along earlier, our friend from LA. I appreciate y'all, okay? And I promise to try and do this and keep getting better, okay? So appreciate you guys. And as always, see ya.
You've been watching the Northern California Sports and Entertainment Network, a Northern Lights Entertainment broadcasting station.